In a faraway land, hidden among mountains and dense forests, lived a dark sorceress in the form of a woman known as Nokvara. She was no ordinary human. Nokvara could transform into a massive serpent with shimmering black-silver scales. In her human form, she was dazzling and enchanting, but her eyes gleamed cold like jade stones, harboring deadly dark magic. Nokvara had a strange and terrifying hobby. She collected villages. With a dark spell from her ancestral spellbook, she shrank entire villages along with their people, animals, homes and fields, then sealed them inside glass jars. These jars she kept in the basement of her castle, built from dragon bones and branches of poisonous trees. One day, a carpenter named Arden from the village of Lyria went into the forest to find the finest wood. When he returned, his village had vanished, replaced by barren, silent land. His wife, his child, and everyone he knew were gone. Arden collapsed in despair, but he swore to uncover the cause and bring everything back. He began wandering the forest and heard whispers of a sorceress who loved serpents and collected villagers. From an old hermit he received a clue. Nokvara cannot be defeated with strength, but with the mirror of the soul, rare artifact that reflects the deepest intentions of any living being. If you can make her see herself, her magic will waver. After hearing the old hermit's guidance about the mirror of the soul, Arden began his journey north, toward the Nyx Mountains, where a hidden ancient cave was said to guard the mirror. The journey was far from easy, for the path to the Nyx Mountains was treacherous and inhabited by creatures from other realms. On the first night, as Arden rested by the river that cut through the wild forest, he heard a soft singing voice calling his name from the water. From the surface of the river emerged a woman with hair like seaweed and eyes like water pearls. She was Nyara, the river spirit who guarded the border of the magical world. "What do you seek on the path of spirits, mortal?" asked Nyara. "I seek the mirror of the soul to save my family from the serpent sorcerer," Arden answered without hesitation. Nyara gazed at him for a long moment. "You speak from the heart, but you will face 3 trials. Only a pure heart may pass." Arden nodded, and Nyara allowed him to continue his journey, gifting him a shard of frozen water, which she said would guide him when light could no longer lead the way. The first trial came in the Valley of Shadows, where mist never lifted. There, Arden met a creature with the head of a deer and the body of a man who called himself Lauren, the keeper of forgetting. Lauren offered him a choice: to forget all the pain he had endured, his lost wife and child, and live in peace in the valley forever. "Imagine a world without sorrow," Lauren coaxed. "You could be happy, and your family would no longer feel lost." Arden nearly faltered, but the memory of his child's laughter and his wife's smile held him firm. "Forgetting is a gentle death. I choose the pain, if it means I can see them again." Lauren chuckled softly. "You have passed." The second trial awaited at the Bridge of Wind, an invisible bridge suspended between 2 steep cliffs, crossable only by those who believed. Arden hesitated, but when he brought out the frozen water shard given by Nyara, it glowed and formed a path of light in the air. Holding his breath, he crossed the bridge that could only be seen by faith. At last, he arrived at the Cave of Scattered Memories, the resting place of the Mirror of the Soul. Inside, he was greeted by the final being, Mogra, a grey dragon with white eyes. The dragon was not a guardian, but a part of the mirror itself, protector and embodiment of past regrets. "Are you ready to see the truth about yourself before you reveal the truth to others?" Mogra asked. With an open heart, Arden replied, "If that is the price to save them, I am ready." Mogra let out a soft hiss before dissolving into smoke and merging with the cave walls. Before Arden appeared the mirror of the solar, vast sheet of glass glowing silver blue, pulsing like a living heart. Arden looked into it and saw himself, a man who regretted not spending enough time with his family, who once loved his work more than his home. Tears streamed down his face, but he did not turn away. He grasped the mirror of the soul, and in an instant, the cave opened a path back directly to the valley where the Nakvara palace stood. The mirror now held not just truth, but also the power of Arden's love, hope, and courage. Arden descended the winding stone path into the Forbidden Valley, where the Black Scale Palace stood home of Nogvara. A thick fog blanketed the place, and the air was cold like a whisper of death. No birds sang, no wind blew, only silence. Making Arden's heart pound louder with each step, he slipped in through an underground passage, guided by whispers and the thrum of magic. There, he saw rows of glass jars arranged like books in a nightmare library. Inside them, miniature villages stood still, living dioramas. People moved in panic, unaware they were no taller than a fingernail. When Arden reached the grand hall, a cold laugh greeted him. "I smell vengeance," said Nogvara, seated upon a throne adorned with dragon claws. She had known he was coming. Her eyes glowed an eerie green, towering and cloaked in black scales that merged with her skin. She stood with terrifying grace. Arden stepped forward, unshaken. "You've stolen countless lives, including my family. All my collections are beautiful and eternal. They're safer here than in the cruel world," Nogvara replied, rising to her full height. In an instant, her body twisted and elongated, transforming into a massive serpent with horned head and a forked, fiery tongue. Nogvara lunged. Arden dodged and drew the soul mirror from his back. As its light washed over her, Nogvara recoiled with a shriek. The serpent writhed and retreated. In the mirror, she didn't just see her monstrous form, but also her past. A little girl, beaten and cast into a swamp for being a shapeshifter. A father filled with hate. A mother frozen with fear. A world that rejected her. "What do you see, Nogvara?" shouted Arden, stepping closer. "It's not a curse. It's a wound you turned into rage. But that doesn't justify stealing others' lives." The mirror shone brighter, and Nagvara's body trembled. Her scales began to crack. She roared, but the mirror's light formed a shield made from the shadows of memory, releasing the light trapped inside them. Nagvara tried to resist, trying to spew magical fire at Arden, but the flood of memories was too strong. Her body shrank and shrank, until only a small, terrified snake remained. One by one, the jars in the palace shattered. The soul mirror absorbed the last of her magic, and the snake slithered away into a crack in the stone, vanishing without a trace. With Nagvara's magic gone, all the jars broke. The stolen villages returned to their rightful places. The sky, once grey, turned bright again. Arden returned to Lyria village, and for the first time in what felt like a century, he held his wife and child again. He buried the soul mirror in the center of the village, and over it, they built a wooden monument, a symbol of courage, redemption, and hope.